As Jane was out for her evening walk, she noticed a small dog sitting by the side of the road. Concerned for its safety, she approached the dog slowly, hoping to avoid scaring it away. As she got closer, she noticed that the dog was shivering and appeared to be in distress. Then she sees what's hiding underneath. Before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Jane made sure she was cautious and slow when she approached the shivering puppy. But of course, the animal noticed her. It was clearly afraid, but to Jane's surprise, it did not move away from its spot. The puppy was seemingly lying down in a large bowl of some sort, most likely trash of some sort, somebody. And as Jane approached, something shining in the sunlight caught her eye. This had to be below the bowl the entire time, and the puppy clearly had a lot of interest in it. Jane kneeled down and waved some leaves away. Finally, she saw what she was really dealing with. There was a set of keys lying under the bowl, and they looked very new. There was also a tag attached to them with some number on it. Jane immediately recognized what these numbers meant. Jane hesitated a lot. She also had to decide what she was going to do with this puppy. If she was going to go to this location, she could not just leave it in her car. But the moment she picked up the keys, the puppy already seemed to lose interest in the spot and focused more on Jane. Maybe this key smelled like home or like his owner. Whatever the case may be, this puppy was now not going to have any issues following her, and that made this decision a lot easier. She did not have a leash or anything, but when she started walking into the forest, the puppy did not hesitate to follow her. And so they started their hour walk directly into the forest. It was not like there was a clear path to the location, and slowly but surely the sun was starting to set, and her curiosity was simply getting the best of her in that moment, and so she powered through, and only about 15 minutes later, she was finally rewarded for her efforts. Suddenly, the tightness of the vegetation started to disappear, and Jane found herself in a small clearing in the forest, and she was shocked to see that in the center of that clearing was an old-looking house. Jane gazed in awe at the house. Neither her map nor Google Maps had hinted at its existence. The puppy, wagging its tail, looked up at Jane, then back at the house, as if confirming they had reached an important destination. As Jane stepped closer, she felt the weight of untold stories. The house, with its peeling paint and shuttered windows, whispered echoes of the past. Jane approached the front door with the key in hand, but her attempts to unlock it were in vain. She circled the house, her determination unwavering. On the side of the house, Jane discovered a small broken window. With a deep breath, she hoisted herself up and cautiously entered the house. Inside, the house was like a time capsule. Dust lay thick on furniture that seemed frozen in a bygone era. The puppy, now inside, became Jane's guide. It trotted ahead confidently, leading her through the dimly lit corridors. Its familiarity with the house was uncanny, navigating turns and rooms with ease. Jane followed, curiosity mounting. The house was a museum of memories, each artifact whispering tales of those who once called this place home. As the forest darkened, Jane realized returning to her car was no longer safe. The house, eerie yet sheltering, seemed her only option. Eventually, exhaustion overcame Jane and she drifted into sleep. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the windows, Jane's resolve strengthened. She decided to delve deeper into the house's mysteries. In the dim light of the basement, Jane stumbled upon an unexpected discovery: a hatch embedded in the floor, covered in dust and partially hidden under an old rug. Jane remembered the key she had found earlier. With a mix of excitement and apprehension, she retrieved it from her pocket, wondering if it might fit the lock. As she inserted the key into the padlock, her heart raced. The key turned with a satisfying click, and the padlock fell open. Jane hesitantly lifted the hatch, revealing a dark, descending tunnel. The air from below was cool and stale, hinting at long-sealed secrets. Standing at the edge of the open hatch, Jane felt a wave of uncertainty. She looked down into the darkness, then at the puppy beside her, seeking courage. Gripping the flashlight tightly, she took a deep breath and began her descent. To Jane's surprise, the puppy bounded ahead with unexpected enthusiasm. If the puppy, so small and vulnerable, could venture forth so bravely, then so could she. Jane and the puppy moved cautiously through the tunnel. With each step, Jane felt further removed from the world she knew above. Jane couldn't help but wonder about the origins of this hidden passage and its purpose. What lay at the end of this cryptic tunnel? The answer, she hoped, was just a few steps further in the enveloping darkness. Jane pressed on, her footsteps echoing in the tunnel's vast emptiness. Suddenly, Jane noticed a faint glimmer ahead. A subtle change in the air and a distant light offered a hint that the tunnel might finally be leading somewhere. The silence of the tunnel was profound, almost tangible. After what seemed like an eternity, a stairway materialized in the beam of Jane's flashlight. Relief washed over her as the endless tunnel finally gave way to this new path. The staircase, carved from the same stone as the tunnel, spiraled upwards, promising an end to the subterranean journey. Jane ascended, her flashlight's beam dancing on the stone walls. At the top, a door waited, old yet sturdy. The puppy paused, tail wagging as if urging Jane to hurry and uncover what lay beyond. At the stairway's end, Jane faced the door. She reached for the key, its significance now more profound than ever. It slid into the lock with an almost ceremonial precision. Turning it, she heard the click of the mechanism, a sound that signified the crossing of a threshold. Slowly, Jane pushed the door open, stepping into a world vastly different from the one below. She found herself in a room lavish in its decor, adorned with rich tapestries and gleaming furniture. This new world was a realm of opulence. The air was fresh, filled with the scent of polished wood and faint perfume. The luxury surrounding her was a vivid contrast to the forest and the hidden tunnel she had traversed. How could such contrasting worlds coexist so closely, yet so hidden from one another? In the luxurious living room, Jane's exploration was interrupted by the sight of an old man. He sat calmly, his eyes reflecting a lifetime of stories. Surprised but not threatened, he regarded Jane with a curious, non-hostile gaze. The puppy, recognizing the man, wagged its tail and approached him. Jane stood still, taken aback by this unexpected human presence. He spoke with a gentle tone, his words laced with a hint of nostalgia and mystery. Jane listened intently, trying to decipher the connection between this man and the luxurious surroundings that so starkly contrasted the decrepit house she had left behind. Jane cautiously began a conversation with the man, her questions laced with curiosity and caution. The man listened, his expression one of understanding and patience. The old man explained the tunnel's origin. It was born from his paranoia, a secret escape route from his lavish home to the hidden forest house. He spoke of a time when fear overshadowed his life, leading him to create this concealed pathway. The tunnel was his security, a hidden line between two worlds, crafted for safety but also serving as a bridge to an unexpected future. His voice softened as he recounted the puppy's story. It was his loyal companion, often accompanying him on walks through the forest via the secret tunnel. One day, however, the puppy wandered off and didn't return. He searched for days, the loss leaving a void in his heart. The puppy was more than a pet. It was a friend, a part of his soul left wandering in the woods. He spoke of nights filled with longing and days filled with fruitless searches. The key, he hoped, would somehow guide someone or something to aid in the reunion with his beloved puppy, a symbol of his hope amidst despair. His story was a tapestry of emotions, predominantly colored with the hues of loss and sadness. The puppy wasn't just an animal. It was a connection to a time of peace and happiness, now lost. The old man's eyes lit up with joy at the sight of his long-lost puppy. He turned to Jane, his gratitude palpable. "Thank you," he said earnestly. "Your courage brought a lost soul home." His words, sincere and heartfelt, reflected the depth of his relief. Jane, witnessing his happiness, felt a warm sense of fulfillment. Her journey had reunited a cherished bond. Wanting to express his gratitude tangibly, the man offered Jane a reward. "Your bravery and kindness shouldn't go unrecognized," he insisted. He presented her with a small, intricately carved box. Inside, Jane found a beautiful antique necklace, its stones sparkling with an old-world charm. It was a generous token of appreciation, symbolizing the value of her courageous endeavor. As Jane prepared to leave, she reflected on her incredible journey. What had started as a simple walk had unfolded into an adventure filled with mystery, discovery, and connection. As she walked away, her thoughts turned to her own home, her journey's end. The forest seemed less daunting now, a familiar path leading her back to her world, enriched by the unexpected turns of life's journey.